ITV boss Carolyn McCall has claimed the broadcaster vigorously defended Piers Morgan over his comments about Meghan Markle. Her comments come after Piers slammed Good Morning Britain for allowing Shamima Begum to exercise her right to free speech when he wasn't. Mr. Morgan, 56, left GMB earlier this year after refusing to apologize for saying he didn't believe a word of what Meghan Markle had claimed in her interview with Oprah. An episode in which Morgan discussed the Duchess of Sussex's interview with Oprah Winfrey became the most complained about moment in the Watchdog's history earlier this year. The journalist also slammed the jihadi bride, who wants to be allowed back into the UK, calling her a self-serving monster who should be left to rot in Syria. When asked about whether Morgan could return to ITV, Dame Carolyn McCall told the Royal Television Society Cambridge convention he had resigned from the broadcaster. She added, "I will just say that we vigorously defended both the programme and Piers to Ofcom, and the reason we didn't get pulled up by them is because of the programme making." Dame Carolyn added, "There is no way we wouldn't be absolutely not just endorsing but championing freedom of speech and freedom of expression." She said she expects to see Morgan working on some global platform any day soon. He tweeted today, "Interesting times we live in when an ISIS terror bride is allowed to exercise her right to freedom of speech on at GMB but I wasn't. Just as well I'm not interviewing this lying, sniveling, cold-hearted, self-serving ISIS bride monster or I'd have seriously lost my temper by now. Begum should never be allowed back to Britain, let her rot in the terror bed she made for herself." Following the Sussex's Oprah interview in March, Mr. Morgan said he didn't believe a word of Meghan's claims, including that she had been left feeling suicidal after being mistreated by the royals and that her baby Archie had faced racism. The presenter clashed with GMB's weatherman Alex Beresford, who accused him of unfairly trashing Meghan, and branded him diabolical, prompting Mr. Morgan to walk off. He was then contacted by a senior ITV executive who asked him to apologize for questioning the Duchess' account of her mental health, but he refused and quit instead. The comments prompted tens of thousands of complaints to Ofcom, but the broadcast regulator cleared Mr. Morgan of wrongdoing earlier this month and defended his right to free speech. In the interview that attracted his ire today, Shamima Begum today donned Western clothing as she called herself a victim and begged Britain for forgiveness in a tone-deaf interview from a Syrian refugee camp. She also denied being a terrorist or a criminal and insisted she had no idea ISIS was a death cult when she joined. The 22-year-old is banned from the UK after marrying a jihadi, with spy agencies denying her claims she was just a Raqqa housewife and instead believe she was a member of the terror group's feared morality police and was even seen stitching suicide bombers into explosive vests and carrying a Kalashnikov. But today, wearing a Nike baseball cap and a low-cut vest top instead of a niqab, Begum said she is a victim of grooming by extremists, would now rather die than rejoin ISIS, and admitted she was wrong to say the Manchester Arena attack was justified because of airstrikes that have killed civilians in Syria. She told Good Morning Britain, "No one can hate me more than I hate myself for what I've done, and all I can say is I'm sorry and just give me a second chance," but she added she was groomed and taken advantage of and manipulated into traveling to Syria. Denying she is a criminal, she said, "The only crime I think I committed was being dumb enough to come to ISIS." But Health Secretary Sajid Javid, who revoked her British citizenship in 2019 on national security grounds when he was Home Secretary, hinted that Begum was lying about just being a mother and wife when in Syria. He said, "I won't go into details of the case, but what I will say is that you certainly haven't seen what I saw." He added, if you did know what I knew, because you are sensible, responsible people, you would have made exactly the same decision, of that I have no doubt. The East London schoolgirl who dumped her veil a year ago and now straightens her dyed hair, paints her nails and wears makeup, fled her home in 2015 to join the so-called Islamic State terror group in Syria with 2 friends both now believed to be dead. She denies her image change is a publicity stunt. Begum also made a jaw-dropping offer to the Prime Minister Boris Johnson, who wants her kept out of Britain. She said, "You are clearly struggling with extremism and terrorism in your country. I could very much help you with that because you clearly don't know what you're doing." She added, "I want them, the British public, to see me as an asset rather than a threat to them." She has begged to be brought back to the UK to face a terror trial. Asked why she won't go to Bangladesh, she said, "How can a country like the UK, who does not believe in the death penalty, how can they expect me to go to a country where I will be killed?" She said, "I know it's very hard for the British people to try and forgive me because they have lived in fear of ISIS and lost loved ones because of ISIS, but I also have lived in fear of ISIS and I also lost loved ones because of ISIS, so I can sympathize with them in that way. I know it is very hard for them to forgive me, but I say from the bottom of my heart that I am so sorry if I ever offended anyone by coming here, if I ever offended anyone by the things I said."